So yeah, there were a lot of bad things in 2018. There were also a lot of good things in 2018. So today we're going to talk about those good things in my top 5 movies of 2018. So top 5 movies of 2018. Now 2018 really wasn't the best year in terms of movies for me. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't see a lot of movies just because of school and get just really busy with college and whatnot. I really get to see many, but the ones I did see really didn't strike me that much. But there were 5 to me that really struck out among all the other films. So that's why I decided to make a top 5 instead of a top 10 this time. So let's just get into it. So at number 5 we have Annihilation. So Annihilation was a very polarizing film when it came out. I remember everyone talking about it, how bad it was. This isn't critics, just regular people telling me how bad it was and that I shouldn't go see it. And then all of a sudden I look at the Rotten Tomatoes meter and it had a really good score on Rotten Tomatoes. So I was like, what's the deal here? So I watched the movie with my friends and it was fantastic. It was unique and original, and I understand why people think it's weird because it is a very weird film, but it had this kind of Stanley Kubrick kind of style to it. You don't really see sci-fi films like this anymore nowadays in the film industry, and it delivered. It was unlike any other film this year, and it took so many creative risks, and by the end it just left me so amazed and with so many questions that I had to talk to my friends about it for hours, and I just miss films like that just make you think about it after you see it. And that's why it's number 5 on this list. So that leads us to my number 4 pick, which is A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place was such a cool idea for a film to me, that you had to be silent or you're going to get eaten alive. That was such a cool premise. But not only was it a cool premise, it actually worked in the film. How silence plays a factor in this movie is a big part of it, and it keeps you on your toes. It makes the movie so much more intense. You're relying on visual cues instead of exposition and dialogue. You have to really pay attention, and it makes the movie so much more intense when it does that. Not to mention, John Krasinski directed the crap out of this movie. This is his first movie he's ever directed, so just imagine what else he has in store. I can't wait. So that leads me to my number 3 pick, which is Avengers: Infinity War. The expectations that people have for this movie were unparalleled. You could argue The Force Awakens. There's no other movie this year that had the hype that this movie had. And there was no way it should live up to the hype that it was pedestaled on. But it did. The Russo brothers are doing an amazing job with all these Marvel movies. They need to keep doing as many Avengers movies as they can because they are incredible directors. Not to mention they made Thanos such a appealing character. He had like 10 years to build up, and they delivered on Thanos. It's almost like his movie, and that's what I love about it. They made Thanos one of the main core parts. He is the villain, and you empathize with him, and that's what I love about it. They don't just make him a big bad guy. They make him a character. So the fact that this is the culmination of the MCU, and they were able to pull it off, just shows how Marvel is doing it right, and how incredible the Russo brothers are once again. And that's why it's number 3 on this list. So honest to God, I thought it was going to be my number 1 pick for so long, until 2 films came out this year that just had more impact on me. And that starts with my number 2 pick, Creed 2. I was worried about Ryan Coogler not directing this one, just because I loved Creed 1 so much. It's one of my favorite films, and the fact that he wasn't directing kind of made me nervous, and Stallone writing made me even more nervous. But honestly, it was everything I wanted. It had killer fight scenes, first of all, just like in Creed 1. Maybe Creed 1 had a little bit better fight scenes with the one take, but the fight scenes were still riveting. They're really cool. The emotion is still there in full-fledged, and Michael B. Jordan gives one of his best performances I've ever seen from him in a movie. And honestly, to me, it's one of his best performances. And I love how they made you empathize with Drago's son in this movie. He's not just a big baddie. He actually is a character. They didn't just make him a robot. They made him a human being. I will say it could have had a little more training montages than it did. But that's my only complaint about it. Honestly, this movie, to me, was perfect for a Creed sequel. And I honestly think this is the best ending they could have had for the series. So I think they should just end it on a high note. And there was only one film that had more impacts to me this year, and it's going to be kind of a shock. But my number 1 pick is Won't You Be My Neighbor? And this film's going to get looked over a lot because it's a documentary, but I promise you, if you give it a chance, you will not regret it. The impact that this movie had on me was unparalleled to any other movie this year. This movie had me so emotional, and Not because I was sad either. It's just a story of a guy who just loved everybody. And that sounds so simple, but when you watch it, you really get to see it. And you hear that message all the time of what a difference you can make by showing kindness and love to everybody in the world. And we hear that all the time, so we kind of, we don't really think about it that much. The difference in this movie is he doesn't just say that. You get to see that through the life of Mr. Rogers, and it was real. And that's what I love about it is this movie shows you true events of someone who just loved everybody no matter who they were, and show what a difference you can make, literally. And that sounds so cliche, but I'm telling you, if you see this movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And I don't want to give any spoilers of what he did in this film, because I really want you to see it for yourself, because I think you'll really appreciate it if you just give it time to watch it. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And hey, look, you'll cry, but I promise you, it's not going to be a sad tear. So those are my top 5 movies of the year. Let me know if you feel the same. Do you feel like these movies were kind of around your same list? Or do you feel there was a lot of other movies that you liked that weren't on this list? I really want to know. Let me know down in the comments. And honestly, I just can't wait for 2019. 2019 has a stellar lineup for movies, and I just can't wait. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this, click right here after I disappear.